I thought this image was really interesting, Mark. You can see the being there morphing through and allowing the camera to capture his face. Like,
Hello, it's the Mark Attwood Show, Adventures in the Cosmic Suit. Are you cold? I'm a bit cold. Welcome to winter. Well, what would you do if you were selected by light beings? You lucky people. I've got an amazing guest for you. Please welcome Christy Clarke. Hi, Christy.
Mark, how are you?
Well,
Once again, it's great to connect with you.
Well, we're both dressed for winter.
Yeah.
My excuse is my heating's broken and it's freezing in here. But how are you doing?
Oh, great, Mark. Really, yeah. I'm here at home, as you see. I'm just relaxing, and yeah, I'm looking forward to this conversation. And yeah, I'm good. Yeah.
Well, after the lockdowns, connecting consciousness through a few parties, and I met you at one or two of those 4 years ago, and they were amazing gatherings, especially as we'd just been released from our prisons.
Yeah.
So it's always good to catch up with you. And the first time I met you, you got your phone out and said, "Look at this, look at this, look at this." I was like, "Oh my God, oh my word, you are quite special."
Yeah, well, I think we all are quite special, Mark. It was just the way we met, I suppose. And as I shared with you before we came online, our good friend Helen, that transitioned across, played a big part in that, and she is in one of the images that I sent to you. Helen had been appearing to me in the garden shortly after she had transitioned. I didn't go advertising it, really. I kept it quiet, and I might have showed you when I had met you. I'm not sure, but so for me, yeah, CC played a part, but I think Helen also stayed in the loop, even though she left this realm. Like,
She did, and I'll just explain to the viewers who Helen is, in case you haven't seen this. Originally on the channel that got deleted, you can see it's called In Search of the Little People 4 years ago. On the channel that replaced the channel that got deleted, that got reinstated last week, that's getting confusing this, I renamed it Real UFOs and Elementals in Island on Film, The Little People Revisited, because, and I re-released it because it was such, and it got a lot more interest. And I find that very interesting, that a channel with smaller subscribers got more interest than one with bigger subscribers, because I do believe, I know, in fact, that more people are open to this information than they were even 4 years ago. And meeting Helen was one of the great pleasures of my life. She's an amazing woman, and I know she's still here. She visits me, actually, and has never left me, really. So yeah, I completely agree with that. And it is sad when you don't see people. You know, she made a great cake, and we had a great trip down to Cork once in my old Jag, and she was great fun to be around. But she didn't want to be here, did she? I mean, she did say many times to me, "I'd rather be up there." And you know, you guys watching, go find those videos and watch Helen. There's also an interview or two that I did with Helen before, because like Christy has sent me a load of images. That's how I met Helen. She sent me a load of images of the stuff that was in her garden, basically, which was elementals and ships. And we got on so well that I went down and made a film about it. And there's a funny story, Christy. I don't know if I've ever told you this, but Kieran, who I made a lot of films with, and he made the film in America with me, and he did lots of things. He was the one filming that day. And Kieran has always been skeptical about everything that I do. And even when the elementals were right there and he was filming them, or he was filming around them, and I said, "Kieran, film there, that one." And he was filming it, and he turns to me, he says, "I'm still not sure about this." I said, "It's right in front of you."
yeah, I came across Helen up on the hill of Tara. Um, a few years ago, and I hadn't met her before that. It was through CC, and we had a bit of lunch, and we shared stories, and the relationship opened up there, like, and I had the pleasure of visiting her home on numerous occasions, like yourself. And we were lucky enough to capture some really interesting photographs and witness some really interesting craft flying across the skies. So, yeah, they were really special moments for me, Mark. But when she appeared in the garden, I was really, yeah, overwhelmed with joy, like that she was still present. And I caught a few images of her in the garden. I think two or three came in, and then I was on a I was over in Inishmore, just went for a few days trek on my bike, and I was cycling around, and I stopped for a bit of lunch just on the side of the road. I had a sandwich with me, and I took my phone out, and I don't know why I took a photograph of my face, but I did, and I looked closely, and of course Helen was in my eye. And oh my God! So I got a bit of a fright. I put the phone away and I relaxed, and I said, "This is really interesting." I didn't go back to the phone for about an hour just to reassure myself that she was there, like, So when she appeared in my eye, it was really mind blowing because what I felt at the time was reassuring me that everything is okay for what's about to come. Because after Helen, other family members started appearing in my eye. Helen was the first one, which I thought was interesting. Like, and then other family members came through, and I shared some of those images with you. So yeah, the relationship was quite interesting, and we shared some great stories about how we were connecting to the elementals, these other beings that were visiting Helen and also visiting me.
Well, let's dig into that a little bit. You've been visited for all your life, right?
Well, I was thinking over the last few days. I was saying, like there's so much information, Mark, from my side, like, and it goes back most of my life. But I feel personally, the game changer for me was when Terry Wogan laughed at David Icke
Oh yeah.
on the Terry Wogan show. So you remember that,
Oh yeah.
and I was quite young. I watched that in my sitting room at the family home, and I knew immediately that was an opening for me. I knew immediately. I said, "This guy is onto something." So I followed David Icke. I wasn't a conspiracy theorist. Well, I suppose I was beginning to open up that awareness, like, to the possibility of life in other realms. But that was the turning point for me, and I've seen it a few times after that. So David Icke sort of took me along that line, and I realized then I had an interest. I hadn't got access to the internet, so any books that I could find that would show me some information, or anyone that could tell me stories on the topic, I was really interested and fascinated. And it opened up from that point. So I'm probably going back 40 years, like, and it was sort of a hobby that I had on the side. Like, I continued to live in this reality, of course, and carry on life as it is. And my family came along, and my two kids, my wife thought it was crazy, like, but I never went too deep into conversation with them. It was sort of something that drew me in at times. It was like I could step into it and step out of it, and that suited me, like, But that changed, I suppose, a few years ago, and we can go into detail in that if you like. That changed really because I had been communicating with different channelers around the world. I've done a bit of research onto different channelers that were bringing beings of light and that, like, and I had a few sessions with them, and just to reassure myself that everything was okay, like, and um, I wasn't going crazy or anything like that, like, and so I was introduced to one being called Kin. I might have mentioned Kin to you before, like, and Kin basically opened the door and basically explained who I was, and who I was before I came to Earth, really, what the plan was before I came into the physical body as regards to soul contracts and that, like, So so that sort of pulled me in again, and it allowed me to sort of accept that, okay, Christy, this is quite real. How do you want to play with it? Like, and to be quite honest with you, um, I was very selective, really, with who I engaged with and who I spoke to. Like, and I had done a bit of research down through the years, and I looked at a few articles online about different topics, like, around disclosure and things like that, and people that had come forward. And so um, I just followed that path, Mark, and it just opened up in a way that sort of allowed me to accept. They had said to me, when I say they, we just say the extraterrestrial beings that were coming forward, says, you won't have to do an awful lot. We're going to do the work on this side, and that was reassuring, and it allowed me to sort of go at my pace.
Well, yeah, I know what you mean. It is, it's doorways open, and doorways open once you have to get settled with it. You have to accept it. You have to research it as well. And then you have to meet other people that make you feel like you're not insane, don't you?
Exactly, exactly. And that's really how it played out. Like, I think it come to a point, I'm not sure whether you're there or not. I know the area you live in has a lot of activity, like, and, I listened to some of the conversations you've had about your experiences and that, like. But for me personally, Mark, it came a time where you just accept that it's real. And then you move to the next level, like, so it's not like I'm not going crazy. It is real. That all goes through the human mind. But for me personally, I got to a stage in my life to say, well, okay, Chrissy, that's real now. What you going to do with it? And where are you going to go with it? Like, and as I've said to you, Ken at the time, which was the name he gave me, he reassured me that everything was going according to plan, and there was no need to panic and just work with us. We will do most of the work on this end, like. And I said, yeah, okay. So I sort of took that and said, okay, I'll use that as a guide and see where it takes me. I wasn't really interested in cameras. I wasn't really interested in photographs. I was interested in what was in the sky. I had sort of an idea that, we were being visited, but I'd not really where to start, like, except to look up and hope that you get a glimpse of maybe a craft or something that's really not from this realm, like, UFO, call it what you like. So I enjoyed that, and I played in that for a few years. And it was only in the last, I'd say, 15 years did I realize, when I started taking photographs, just simple photographs from my phone, I was getting a lot of images of orbs and things like that. They were quite unusual. And again, that was another door that opened for me. And it was a stepping stone to another experience, like. And it just opened up that way, like, to be honest with you. And I sort of met people, shared my experiences to a certain point. Um, when I say to a certain point, as I said, there would be topics that I would discuss, really, that um, I played a part in, and then I just might meet someone who I would sense that had an interest in the topic. I would open up and share, really, my experiences. Like, and you can normally sense from the conversation, and you can sense the energy and vibration and that. So it normally worked in that way. If I seen an opening, I would move in. If not, it was okay. I would just wait, like.
Yeah, well, I love bumping into people that know this stuff, because it's like I can go, yeah, yeah, me too, and it's just getting more and more and more, and it's I don't get called crazy as much as I used to, not to my face anyway. but
Yeah.
I do think that's why it's important to get these things out, because I remember when Helen first sent me the pictures and I said, come on the show, and she was like, I'm not ready. And I understand that, especially in Ireland, because what I've learned about being in the west of Ireland for the last, well, coming here for the last 25 years, but living here full time the last 7 or 8, is, this was, as many viewers know the headquarters of the self-proclaimed UFO Society of Ireland, and a couple of famous UFO crashes here, and lots of people that I've met with close encounters of the third kind, and all of that stuff. But the piss taking is so comprehensive that, you know, that's why there's a great book. Have you ever read that book, a Conspiracy of Silence, about the UFOs in Ireland? Have you ever seen that book?
No,
It's
I haven't read
it's a
that one.
great title for a book about UFOs. And you guys watching, go and look it up. Go and find that book if you can. It's a very, very good book that was recommended to me by Eamon Ansbro, who set up the Space Telescope in French Park here about 25, 30 years ago, and has recorded 40,000, I think, UFOs, about 18 of which are irrefutable. But it is, and you know, what I've found, Christy, is that when you share this stuff online, it gives other people courage, because so many people just keep it to themselves. But it is the time now, I feel, and that's why I thought it'd be great having a chat with you today, because you are extraordinarily well connected. And I'm wondering, are we allowed to know what you got told about who you were and what you were before you came here, or is that your personal stuff? I don't want to dig if it is.
Yeah, I can share that. There's no problem. Like, yeah, I can open up that side really. There has been a lot that went on, but as I said, from who I was, um, there's a famous channel in the US that I've been sort of playing with since around 2012, like, and I've had sessions with many other channels, because again, my 3D mind would always question, like, so I would enjoy the experience, but I would go and I would just keep digging to see really what I found, and was I comfortable with what I found, like, so there's a lot of information coming forward to me. Like, I was working with different races down through the years for the last mm, like 30 years, like, and I was working with the Octarians for a few years, and they were working on my whole physical body in this reality. They were working on lineage, really, relationships that I was having, like, with friends and family, and so that was going on for a few years. And that channel that I was working through, she actually passed over, and so yeah, I had a few sessions, but I went to one channel, and he's now a very good friend of mine, and he's based in the US. And yeah, he explained to me there's a being around you that wants to connect with you. Well, has been connected with you, and I can bring him forward. His name is Kin. So I said, yeah, bring Kin forward. So Kin came forward and through the channel and explained their relationship really, and um, explained really how he knew me and how long he knew me. Like, and he'd been with me for 6,500 years, which I was quite taken back with, like, and explained the star system I came from, which is Antares in the Scorpion constellation. So all that information was new to me, and but I took it on board, and yeah, I was quite happy, and I continued going back and having numerous sessions with Kin, and I still do have sessions. Like, even though I'm a conscious channel myself, I like to go to a channel like and get some updates really as to what they feel and is happening at this time, like, for me. Well, Ken came across around 212 and introduced himself, and basically explained who we were and our connection and how long he knew me. And that was grand. And that took me up to, and I would sort of move back and forward with Ken in different sessions. A lot of the time, it would be Ken all the time I would bring forward in a session. And but in anyway, uh, around 217, Ken revealed who he really was, which
Oh,
is Renturus Voluntrius. And that's on my page there. And the link that I sent you there earlier on.
yeah.
So he explained really that I wasn't ready to hear the information that you were about to bring forward to me. And So Renturas Voluntrius basically um, uh, explained our relationship, where we came from, and explained that he was my higher self, like, So I was sort of going, what? And he said, yes, yes, I am you on earth. You are having a human experience, like, and there's an aspect of me, a percentage of me within you, like, and so that more or less again was another door opening for me, Mark, and it was a lot of information to take uh, on board. And in that time frame between, say, 212 up to around 217, 218, I was having a lot of experiences, like, and I would spend a lot of time in the forest and the woods and things like that. And I'd be having a lot of experiences with the fairies and the elementals and things like that. I was connecting to a fairy goddess called Trina, and a friend of mine in South Africa could bring Trina through, and Trina was with me already. She more or less explained that she had connected to me in the forest a long time ago, like, and um, all that was happening, and I was sort of moving in that energy, and Ken changing his name to Renturis and giving me an update on that, more or less. And I remember one question Renturis asking me, and it was basically, "Are you ready?" And I says, "Ready for what?" Well, he said, "Just agreements that you put in place before you came into the physical body." And I basically said, "Yes, of course." Like, and that's okay. He said, "So we can work a bit closer with you now." And and I allowed that to open up, like, and till I got to a point that I said there earlier on, there comes a sort of time for, I personally feel, each individual that they accept what's happening is real as regards to um, extraterrestrial presence, if it's around Earth or if it's in the solar system. For me, basically, that's what happened. Really, I just sort of said, okay, that's a reality. It's real. So now the focus is on you as regards to your spirituality, your awareness, your awakening, and basically that's where I put the focus. And in all that, I was having really interesting experiences, like, family coming across from the other side, and family appearing in the pupil of my eyes and things like that. So that was quite interesting. It was information that I was actually unsure as to what to do with. Like, who do I speak to? Like, you tell somebody that there's a being in my eye, they say, yeah, okay, Chrissy, that's it. Shut it
Yeah.
down now. Like, but when you have the evidence, which I had, and as I've shared with you, you see that it's quite real, like, So um, I'm I'm quite I'm quite relaxed in that sort of setting now, where I just take it now as it comes. And when I say take it as it comes, like, I get a download, I call it a download to take a photograph. And it could happen very, very easily.
Yeah.
I could be sitting having lunch, breakfast, and it hits me. If I don't act on it immediately, that's okay. I have about maybe a minute, 2 minutes to act on it. If I don't get to the phone at that point and take a photograph, it's okay. That's no problem. And the feeling will come back. And it might take a day or two, it might take a few days. And I normally just take a photograph. And a lot of the times there's beings there, there's orbs there, and mainly in my garden, or could be in the woods, like, places like that, like. And so I continue to play in that, like, and watch how I react and respond when I take something really interesting, because it can be quite overwhelming. Some of the images that I showed you there, which we'll have a look at in a while, like, one being of my father appearing to me in the garden on my birthday.
Yeah. Well,
That was interesting because I was here in the house that morning, and I decided to get into the loft, the attic as they call it, and I was sitting there, and I ended up with a picture album in my hand, and I'm going through old photographs, and one came up of my father. I said, that's interesting. And I was in the family home. So I looked at the photograph for a while, and then I changed the page, and but I put the photo album down, and I came down, and I realized then I was drawn to take a photograph, and my father appeared in the garden, like, and I went, oh my God, my dad is in the shed, like, So as I've shared with you, like, as soon as I seen my dad coming back to me from the other side, like, there was a whole, an emotional roller coaster that I was trying to manage. Like, I was quite overwhelmed, like, knowing that my father had transitioned 30 years ago, but he was coming back and he was doing everything's okay, buddy. I have your back. So that alone itself was massive, like, when I tried to manage that emotionally, like, and say, okay, okay. So he appeared in the garden, then he started appearing elsewhere to me, like. So that itself, like, sort of took me down a rabbit hole where I tried to understand it and break it down in my own theory, like exactly what was happening, like. And but as I said earlier on, Helen was the game changer. She came in first. She came into my eye, and I know she was giving me downloads at the time and reassuring me that we're going to use your vehicle, the physical body, everything is okay, and let it play out. And basically, that's what I done, Mark. And I still do that up to today because I have other family members that have transitioned. And it's not only family members, but I'm witnessing family members that are coming in. That photograph that I didn't send you, it's on my webpage, is of Frances, my sister. And she actually appeared in the garden on the morning of her funeral. So it was really strange because my wife was quite stressed and she was saying, yeah, that's Frances there. Yeah, that was the first image of Frances. That was the morning of her funeral. So she had transitioned across and a few days prior to that picture, like, and my wife is quite stressed and she wants to get to the funeral. And I'm trying to explain to her, I'm okay. Frances is with me in the garden. And she was saying, Christy, I haven't got time to listen to this. Let's get to the church. Like, so I'm at Frances's funeral, knowing she's present herself from another realm, like, So Frances started coming across, as you see there, and she continues to pop in and that, like, when I say pop in, she continues to appear. When I say appear, like, she come into my awareness, like, and I'll have a conversation with her in my mind, and yeah, she might just surprise me, like, and she might appear in the house or she might appear in the garden, like. So I've started to go to a stage, something interesting happened to me here just a few weeks ago. I'll share this with you, if that's okay.
Yep.
I sort of go into a meditative state here on my own, mainly in the evening. I'll relax, I'll light a candle, and I'll just sit in silence, like, and I'll communicate on a telepathic level. And but I've been asking the beings to come forward, and I was putting my finger out like this and asking the being to touch my finger. And this is where the 3D mind goes to. So, like, even though I've the photographs of the beings, I want to manifest something that I would say is possible, which is a being coming into this realm and communicating with me in a physical body. So I had my finger out and I'm saying to the being in the dark, please touch my finger. Now, nothing happened, but I fell into a deep sleep and a really deep sleep. And I woke up and I'd say I was asleep for maybe an hour. I'm not too sure as to what happened within that hour, but I felt the presence in the house, like, and I was so tired after when I woke up out of deep sleep. I said, I'm going to go to bed now. So I set the alarm. And when you ever walking up the stairs and there's somebody walking down and you move out of the way to let the person pass, I'm sure you've had that experience in the past. That was what happened to me on the stairs of my house. So I'm walking up and I stopped and I knew there was somebody there, but I couldn't see them. But I felt their presence. But I got out of the way and I moved as though the person was walking by me down the stairs. And I took a photograph, and there's a being on the stairs that came through quite clear, lovely aura over its head. And it just was standing there observing a chorus. I seen it quite clear. I have the photograph here. But quite casually, I just said goodnight and I went to bed and I put the lights out.
See ya.
I went to bed. Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
I went to bed, Mark, and I went out. I went to bed and I looked the next morning and I had a look again at the photo. I said, "Oh my God!" I relived that story that you shared with you. I was like, as I said, you going up the escalator and someone coming down and you sort of say, "Sorry, good morning, excuse me," or whatever. And I moved out of the way because I knew the being was either coming by me or he was standing on the stairs. But that just came to me there as I was speaking. And I thought I'd share that, like, so encounters like that are very, very common, like, where I would sense and feel, like, that there's an energy around. And I've asked around tourists this and channeling sessions. I said, can you tell me what's going on here? Like, with regards to the amount of beings that are coming forward, there's quite a few. Well, he says a lot of the beings that are coming forward has had their family. Some of them are family, and some of them are just friends. Some of them are beings that you've had lives with in previous incarnations, like, and they're aware that you're on Earth, and they're just coming by to say, "How are you doing, Christy? How's things? We want to reconnect with you. We want to support you, emotionally, like, because of the situation that we're in, like, So that's really how I sort of maneuver in that relationship that I'm having with these beings of light, with these angelic beings, with the fairies. I bought a fairy castle here recently. It's just here. I was advised by Trina, the fairy goddess, to buy a fairy castle. So I went on eBay and I bought a lovely piece that was a collector's item, and I got it off this lady in the UK, and we agreed on a price, and she shipped it. So I had the fairy castle out in the garden here, and so yeah, the fairies are coming. Like, I took a photograph. I mightn't have shared it with you. I shared it with a few other people of these little fairy beings hopping around the garden, like, So again, if you're in the right frequency and vibration, you're open to anything. Now, staying there can be difficult because, as you know, we're down here on Earth having a human experience, and it can get quite busy, like, that sort of way. But what I've found is that it's interesting for me. It's like I can shift very easily. Like, I can have this 3D conversation with Mark Attwood, and then I can sort of go off and I can just sort of tap into that energy. And they have said to me down through the years, yeah, that's one of the gifts we've given you before you came into the physical. We want you to have the human experience, Christy. We want you to enjoy the human experience, even though you are connecting to these realms and these beings of light. It's so important that you live your life on Earth, really, and follow your highest excitement. And let that manifest and play out the way it is, like. And in all that, we can have a bit of fun, like. Remember that you got a call and to come back here, and to have this experience. So while you're here, don't get too caught up on really what we're doing or what we're showing you. Now, that is really, really difficult because, as I said, when I see an orb, I'm like, oh my God. Like, there's mornings here where I get quite upset emotionally, like, and it's not like coming from fear. It's just that overwhelming emotion where I'm connecting with these beings that are here to support me and the collective at this time. So it's quite interesting how it's playing out.
Walking in two worlds, or three worlds, or four worlds. I know, but it is fun, and I think that's the key. Actually, is to keep it fun because they're very light-hearted, like we are, and I like to keep it like that. Should we have a look at some of these pictures? Which ones do you want to show us first?
I'll let you take the lead on that. I don't mind. I'll go through the photographs. If you go through them, I can share maybe who they are, well, who I feel they are, and we can take it from there.
I think we'll start with the one with Helen in. Let's have a look at that one.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good friend, Helen. And that was another friend of Helen's there. And Helen invited me up to her home and to have the experience again of connecting with these elemental light beings. And of course, we went up. But I think that photograph was just a photograph we decided to take. And we were at the walking, which I suppose you did, up through Helen's land, like, and
Yeah,
it was late at night. And we were out stargazing that night, Mark, and we just took that photograph. Just,
it's a great
I
picture.
suppose, yeah, I suppose as a souvenir, like
Yeah,
yeah, it's a very good capture. And so that was one of the experiences, one of the many experiences I had at Helen's home, like, and yeah, I think that wasn't I think that wasn't long before Helen passed. Like I think that was taken a few months prior, and it was just one of the many amazing experiences I had while I was with Helen. Like she had that vibration like that I was drawn to. Like and yeah, we laughed a lot and we shared a lot of our own stories and what was happening to us on that level. Like and anytime we connected we'd have a story to tell. Either she'd fill me in or I'd fill her in, like And then I left, like, and I'd carry on my own life, and we would connect again, like, and we would arrange to meet up, and that's the way it played out. Sadly, until she transitioned, like. But again, I was given a wonderful gift of Helen, and that was that yeah, she's gone across the other realm, but she's very, very much with us at this time, and she's there for us all, Mark.
she is. It wasn't long after she passed that I saw a ship here that was like it was like the Death Star. It was like a big. It was in the middle of the day. It was a big round one, like like an artificial moon, and I'm sure it was something to do with her. But yeah, I've seen her face a few times, and I feel like we had a good connection, and it's lovely as a tribute to show that picture first. Now you've got some. Should we have a look at some of the orbs? These now orbs are interesting, and I've seen a lot of your orb pictures over when we've met. Because I always get really excited like you do about orbs, but then people say, "Oh, it's just the camera, it's the trick of the light," but it's not, is it?
Certainly not. Yeah, I've had that experience myself where people would question, and that's okay. I haven't got an issue with that. But I've took some really interesting photographs of orbs, like again, and just because I was drawn in the moment, I wouldn't be actually out waiting in the bush to say, I hope an orb appears. I'd be casually getting on with my day. And as I said earlier on, I would get that feeling, that download, and I would go for the camera. And I got some amazing photographs. This is one of them. But as I said to you there recently, I'm not sure you can zoom in on that photograph, but there's faces of them orbs,
Yeah,
not them all.
I don't think I can zoom in
Yeah,
on this
no
program.
problem. Don't worry about it. No problem. Don't worry about it. But there is faces in there, like, and again, that's one of the quite special photographs that I've taken, like,
Well, I'm
of
I'm
these.
zooming in. I'm zooming in myself, and I can see the faces. So maybe the viewers can see it if they've got it on a big screen. But yeah, that is amazing.
Yeah, well, if you use the glass, magnifying glass, you will see like. But yeah, a lot of the time, the orbs that come through, Mark, will have an image. You mightn't see the whole face, you mightn't see the whole physical body, but the being is morphing into the image, like, and you get insight. You will be drawn to the being. Normally, if I'm showing a photograph to somebody and they're saying, "Where, Christy? I can't see the being," I'd say, "Okay, just wait,
Hmm.
wait." Give it a minute or two, and you're going to be drawn to the energy because the being is going to be drawn to you. And lo and behold, it happens very, very quick with the being. Go, oh yes, I can see it now. I see what you're talking about. So, but yeah, that was a quite interesting photograph, Mark. I'm not too sure when I took that, but that would happen. That would happen a lot. Like I think that was in my garden here, and just looking at the tree, and I would have had, yeah. I would have had many photographs like that, like elsewhere, like on my travels again. I would just decide to take a photograph, and I would have an interesting um, experience like this. Like,
I just had a
but
thought.
yeah,
Do you think this is where the idea of lights on Christmas trees comes from? I think it is. I think that's where it comes
yeah. Well, there you go. I mean, if you look closely enough, yeah, there's a nice vibrant energy coming from each orb, which could light up the room, could light up the backyard, So yeah, definitely free energy.
Absolutely. So we've got one here of
Mm.
Esasani being. How do you say that?
Yeah, Essasani or Shikani, yeah. This image is an old image. It's a few year old, and I didn't actually take this here. I think I took it elsewhere. And I've been connecting to a being called Shabin, Shabine, and he's an Essasani being. And he came through in various channeling sessions that I had down through the years. And he asked for permission to connect to my energy. And I gave him permission. And so when I took this photograph, if you look up the Essassani race, there's a guy called Daryl Enke channels Bashar. You
Yeah.
will see, yeah, you will see that race. They're beautiful beings, again in the fourth dimension, waiting to transition like ourselves to the next stage. But yeah, I thought this image was really interesting, Mark. You can see the being there morphing through and allowing the camera to capture his face, and so that happened late at night as well. I would be sort of awoken at times, uh, just to have a look if it's out the window or if it's just to take a photograph. That has happened a lot as well, and I would have images coming through, but this one was taken, yes, I remember throughout the night. I
Mm.
was asleep, I woke up, came downstairs, got the camera, and I normally just take about 5 or 6 shots into the garden, put the camera down, and go back to bed. And this lovely being came through in one of the images, so that was again quite exceptional.
That is gorgeous.
Yeah,
Now, this next one, you've called it. That what's interesting to me about this next one is that I was sent a video 2 weeks ago from somebody who watches the show over Carlo, and I posted it straight up on YouTube. I'm going to show you I'm going to show everybody your image first because you say this is a mantis being. That's pretty special.
yeah. Well, this is interesting, really, and I had an experience in the woods where I walk in the woods with my dog. It's one of my escapes, and I had Patch with me down in the woods, and we were walking for a few hours. It was raining that day, and I was sheltering in the woods from the rain, and I was just relaxing in the woods. It wasn't in a hurry to go home. And what happened was, I took the dog's lead off him, and I let the dog go. He's just off chasing vermin. And I put the lead around my neck, and I tied the lead on my neck, and the lead was sitting on my chest, doesn't move. Fine there until I leave the woods. I put the lead back on the dog and I walk home. That's the routine I have. So we finished our walk and I got to the gate and I realized the lead was gone. Gone. So I panicked just for a moment and I was okay then. I realized that the lead was taken off my neck. It was okay. It was just a calmness came over me. The lead was taken off my neck. So whoever took the lead had to physically open the knot, loop it over my head, and take the lead. So I lifted the dog home from where he was under my arms because I hadn't got the lead and got to the house. And it was only a while later that I had a channeling session and I spoke to Renturis about the lead incident. Can you give me some update on that? He said, yes, the lead was taken off you in the forest. It was taken off your neck by a mantis being. I says, really? He said, yes. And he said, he's here observing and he's listening to our conversation. I can see him here, he says. And he's a trickster. That's the way Renturis describes him. I says, okay, what happened to lead? He says, he just was having fun with you and he decided to take the lead. Now, when I realized the lead was gone, okay, I decided, okay, you can go home now, Christy, and replace the lead, or you can do the walk again. I tried to convince myself that I might have
Yeah.
dropped the lead. So I done the walk again that day. See, could I pick the lead up? But the lead was taken. But Renturis explained to me, yeah, that a mantis being took the lead. Now I took that photograph. It would have been a while after that, and that wasn't in my house either. I was staying in a friend's house, and I walked throughout the night, and I zoomed in on that photograph because there was some orbs in it as well.
Yeah.
But you can see the being there. You can see the shape. You can see the feet. You can see the knees, and you can see the shape of the body, which is quite unusual because I remember I read a book and called the Octarian Ontology, and it was wrote by a sound healer, Tom Kenyon. You probably came across him down through the years.
Rings a bell.
Yeah, yeah. And Tom Kenyon spoke about his relationship with these beings, and he spoke about given the opportunity to go on board ship. And he said in the book, while I was on board ship, I was quite interested to the different physical bodies of these beings. A lot of them weren't human-like. And the being that was actually with me as a guide on the ship just whispered in my ear, don't make it too noticeable. You appear quite shocked as to the beings on this ship, like, and he went into some detail as to who they were and why they were there, like, you know. But again, when you sort of try and grab that and analyze and say, okay, a lot of the different beings in the universe, they may not have a physical body like us, like, but they're highly evolved dimensional beings that have been around for a long time. We're in a container body on Earth, like, and we're here to have the experience. So when I took this photograph, I went, oh my God, this is really interesting. And I asked the question then to Renturis in a session, can you give me some update on a photograph I'd taken? He said, yes, that was the mantis being that was playing with you in the forest. And he's still around you. He's not going to harm you, he said, because you are protected by me and by others. But he's a trickster, like, and so that was that was the story behind this photograph, Mark.
Did you get any sense of scale for this picture?
When you say scale, go on it.
Well, I just want to quickly go and check the video that I posted 2 weeks ago because it seems very similar. The shape is really similar. And I just see what I don't know. Just go and have a quick look at it. And I've got a story about the mantis beings as well to do with one of my sons. But I'll just go and find this first. So this was the video. And if we get to the close up of this,
what the fuck is this?
Excuse the language.
The speed of it.
This was the one over Carlo. There's a more of a close up. You see there, it starts to look quite similar in shape.
Oh.
It's like a
Now that I didn't take that, that was sent to me. But the shape's really similar. And the size of
That's interesting.
That seemed like quite a large being in the sky, ship in the sky.
Yeah,
I don't know if I've ever told this story on the show. I might have done, but one of my sons, when he was about five years old, he'd drawn a picture of what looked like a mantis with himself sat at a table having a cup of tea, and I said, "What's this?" He said, "Oh, I went up on this spaceship and the mantis beings made me a cup." Well, you know, I'm paraphrasing. Made me a cup of tea, and they were really nice to him. That's all the evidence I have is a 5-year-old's drawing, but there was no. I'd never mentioned mantis beings to anybody at that point. This is 10 years ago, so I think he's pretty sure he's connected to them.
Definitely, yeah.
But that's interesting that you said they're tricksters. Is that a generalization for mantis? Because if you listen to some people, they say the mantis beings are not good, but I don't know. How do you feel? I mean, this one was a trickster and you were protected. Was there a need to protect you from this one? Obviously there was.
Well, Renturas explained to me that this mantis being took your lead. And he took it, and I said, "How did he take the lead off my body?" He says, "You relaxed in the forest." He said, "That was an opportunity. You wouldn't have felt it. And it was only when you were leaving you realized that the lead was gone." But he did explain to me. He says, "He's actually here now. He's listening." And that was the comment he passed. He's a trickster. He said, "Well, he's aware that we're aware of him. Like, you know, now when I say a trickster, he's never harmed me at all, Mark. Like, you know, but he's probably one of these beings, like, you know, that wants to connect with humans in that way. And when they become aware of them, then they can maybe ask a question or maybe open up that connection in a way that they can communicate with the mantis being either through channeling or whatever way." But I did come across a few articles down through the years where people speak about these different races of mantis beings that are highly evolved on the spiritual level, like, you know, and again, they're moving like ourselves to the next stage of their awakening, like, you know. So didn't really surprise me, but I've never had any thoughts of this mantis being coming back in. When I look at the photograph, I do make that connection. I've never felt him around me again. I've never felt uncomfortable really when I do bring a mantis being into my awareness, like, and just sort of analyze the thought and then move on, like, you know. So,
yeah, I think for the sake of the viewers, I'd say don't be afraid anyway. But it's just interesting. Let's move along because we've not got too much longer left. Let's look at this Paul eye. That picture. What can we see in the eye there?
Well, that's Paul, my brother, who transitioned across over 30 years ago.
Wow.
So, and that's a younger version of Paul. He was quite young there, and so again, Paul came in after Helen came in, like, and he again continues to drop in and say hello. Not always in the eye. He might appear in the garden, that, like, but he came in. That was a beautiful capture. Again, one day I just decided to take a photograph of my face, and of course, I was guided in that way, and and this is the end result. So, it's really amazing when you look at something like that and you go, "Oh my God!" Like,
well, that one's making me smile. It's quite
okay.
funny. Just getting what I'm getting is a big smile, like a lot of joy.
Yeah, yeah, you can see he's a big head of hair there, like, but yeah, he has a grin on his face as well. That would have
Yeah.
been Paul. Like, Paul was my younger brother. He was a year younger than me, and sadly he transitioned at a young age. Uh, but yeah, it's great, Mark. As I said, that we have this ability to be able to allow loved ones to come back in this way. I know this is exceptional. I haven't come across anything like this in the past where people who have transitioned are coming back that way. Normally, people would have a vision, a sense, a smell, or whatever, but they start coming through the pupil. It's it's a bit it's quite interesting, you know.
Well, no, it
But,
is really
yeah.
interesting, and the fact that you can capture them is brilliant.
Well, again, as I say, I'm given the moment and I act on it. If I don't, it's okay. I don't
Yeah,
sort of get upset, but it will come back then at a later date, like, you know, a later date.
I think we've got another one in the eye here, have we? Is this in the eye as well?
Yeah, yeah, that's Helen.
Okay, I'm gonna have to zoom in on this one.
Yeah, that's Helen, and she's looking up at you. So you were not looking directly at Helen's face. She's sort of looking up and you're looking down.
Oh
You can
yeah.
see her hair. Yeah, you can see her hair in her face. That was the first time I had the experience with the eye, and Helen came forward, and as I said, um, then other. It doesn't actually look like an eye. I know you're looking at the image there, but I zoomed in and just to break it down more or less and get a better vision of it. Because sometimes if the light is not right, you won't see the image. But I can see her quite clearly here, Helen. But yeah, again, she's just smiling at us like, and she's just saying hello.
Well, that's good to know. And
Mhm.
right, I've got a couple of the twins. What's this one?
Yeah, this is interesting. Like I named these two beings the twins because one is more human-like, which is the one on the right on my side, and the one on the left is more extraterrestrial-like. And
Mm-hmm.
so again, this is an image that I took um, using my phone, and it appeared in the garden. This image, it didn't actually appear on the ground. That image actually appeared in the sky, and it's interesting you mentioned there earlier on when you were showing that image of Carlo there that was in the sky.
Yeah.
What looked like in that image. So I have taken many photographs, Mark, of images of beings in the sky, just faces, and you might get a physical body, like but now they wouldn't come through completely, but they would morph into the photograph. But this photograph I took, that was in the sky. I was out one night stargazing, and I just took a few photographs, and this image came through. So, um, it's an interesting one. Yeah, as I said, there's two beings here. There might be actually three. It depends. There might be one there over the blue being at the back. But it's quite clear there. You can see the two faces in the front, like, and so that's another nice photograph.
It is. Right.
Mm.
Now there's two here with a very interesting name on them. Yeshua.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. This is interesting. Yeah. So, um, I had got a few photographs of. I got about three photographs of Yeshua. And I know I'm saying Yeshua for a reason. I'll get to that now in a sec. Jesus in the back garden here. I got one of Jesus and Mother Mary together, and they were actually morphing through the wall just out here. Like I took her a few years ago, but I kept quiet about it. I didn't reveal it to very many people. But it's quite clear. I could see Yeshua's face, and I could see Mother Mary coming through as well. But and then I got one or two again of Yeshua, around the shed, and quite clearly see his face and his beard and that. Like Jesus, I want to say Jesus. But before I took this photograph, Mark, I was actually in a webinar. I was listening to Alex Collier.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Alex would be a friend of mine. We made that connection, like, and we spoke over the phone and that, like, and shared experiences. It was really interesting. But during the call, the webinar with Alex, again, I got the feeling to take a photograph, and I took this photograph out the yard. So I just actually stood here where I'm sitting, knocked the lights out, and I took a photograph into the backyard. And I looked at it the following day and I went, oh my God, I was quite taken back. But before I took the photograph, I was in a call a week prior to that with a group of people, and I was channeling Rentouris, Voluntarist, brought Rentouris in. And someone asked, was there anyone else there that wanted to come forward? And I said, yes, Yeshua is here and would like to come forward. Now, I'd never channeled Yeshua before, but it was quite clear that he was there and he had a message. And I went, oh my God, that's interesting. So for a few days after that, everything was Yeshua. Everything was Yeshua. Yeshua was there all the time, all the time. Then I had the call with Alex. Then I decided to take a photograph, and this is where I captured. So you can see Yeshua there in the background. The being where on the ground, it's like a being looking around at me like this. And it's not like a human.
Mm.
Uh, it's not like a human being. I could see it quite clearly. But the being there above it, you can see Yeshua's face and his beard and that, and there's like a bit of technology around his head. You can see it there. It's like a square. Now, I'm not sure what that is, but it's quite clear. I can see it here.
Yeah.
So that was in my garden. Did Yeshua come down out of a craft, or did he just appear in the garden? I'm not too sure on that, but it's one of the best images I've had of Yeshua. And I call him Yeshua now, not Jesus, because as I said in my channeling, he came through as Yeshua. And so that was a wonderful gift of Yeshua that I've shared with a few people, including yourself, which is really exceptional, like, you know.
Oh, it is. It is. And yeah, I've realized that Jesus is the Roman name that they gave him to distort the energy, but there's a second
Just
one.
give it, yeah. Yeah, well, that was just a photograph. I said you could see Alex Collier there in the background. That was the webinar we were in. I held the webinar while I took the photograph. But
Oh, yeah.
you had interviewed two people a few weeks ago, Gareth and Katie.
Yes.
Did you remember?
Yes.
Yes, and Gareth shared his experiences with Tom.
Yeah.
Which was Jesus. And when I listened to that interview, I got a download immediately, and I said, I'd like to meet this guy, like, and share this experience with him, like, and this image. And that was one of the reasons that I reached out to you in the first place, like,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, I just got this book because of him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It only arrived the other day. I haven't started it yet, but I am.
Yeah.
Dig into that.
Yeah. So it was because of Gareth again. It's amazing how we're connected in that way. Like his interview again triggered something within me to bring this image forward of Yeshua. Like,
I know it's gorgeous, and
yeah,
I'm just going to have to come to a conclusion because I'm running out of time. But I just want to. You currently, I did have your website up here, selected by Lightbeams. It's actually on connectingtostars.com, and this is how people can connect with you. Correct? Do you want to explain what you do on here?
Yeah, well, I'm a channel. Yeah, I'm a conscious channel. So yeah, anyone that comes forward for a session, they're welcome to. And I also do one-on-one sessions where people just want to come in and have a chat, like, and yeah, so that's available if anyone wants to connect, Mark.
I'll leave a link for that below the video. It's
No
connectingtostars.com.
Yeah.
I've personally met Christy on a number of occasions. He's amazing. It's been great chatting to you today, Christy. I have to shoot, but we've had a good hour, and I really appreciate you sharing all those images and stories with us. It's fascinating. Keep going. Keep sharing them. Come on again.
Great. Thank you so much, Mark. I really appreciate it, and thanks for your time.
That's my pleasure. God bless you. See you later. See you, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.